really well today. Apologies for no earlier show today because I've been in work. So I've had to go away for work. So I've literally just got back. And honestly, what have I missed today? I mean, I've absolutely missed. God, so many different things today. So I'm actually now stuck in a hotel room. Don't know if you can see all that behind me, but yeah, I've literally just got back from being out all day. Scott, I hope you've not missed me too much today, my friends. Let me know how you're doing in the chat. I've missed you guys today. Just doing the one show so far. Sorry, guys. I've literally just got back to the room. Just trying to set myself. So many different things have happened today. So we will get into all that as well. Sir Jim Madness. We've got Amorim wants another new goalkeeper. Not being as fun without the chat. Exactly, Scott. You know, this chat brings joy to our life. Certainly does bring joy to my life. And I've absolutely missed you guys today. Swap deals with Valverde. Swap deals with Camavinga. I mean, we've got Costa. So I mean, I think today's been a madness. You know, what one thing I'll say today, which is sort of not surprised me, but you know, after the Chelsea win, and you can give your opinions on that as well, which obviously I expect you to do, is that I thought Valverde was 27, Scott. I might be wrong now, my friend. I thought this would have stabilised the ship, but we can get into it straight away. I think there's such a scattergun approach here. I will give you my opinion on Camavinga as well for what that's worth. But again, what I want you guys to do is let me know in the chat what you think about these possible Camavinga deals. Let me know what you think about what you basically think about what the hell are we going to do? Who's going to win the Ballon d'Or? I think Lamine Yamal's going to win it. I think Dembele should win it. Personally, oh god, this stupid chair. I think that Dembele should win it. I think what we like to talk about on here, Scott, I agree with you. I think it should be. I think it should be him. The problem for me is that I hope they don't go down the route of giving it to the flavour of the month, right? So Dembele for me, what a redemption arc. Again, so many injuries, hamstring injuries, wherever he's played, and then he's got to PSG and he seems to have sort of found his stride. And for me, Dembele, I think Dembele should win it hands down. But this is the Ballon d'Or is pretty much a popularity thing, isn't it? So I think that Lamine Yamal will win it, but I sort of hope not. So again, guys, if you're new to the channel, get into the chat. I can't get used to this new FC at all. Scott, mate, I've barely played it. Now, bro, you sleeping on Rafinha? I don't think I am. I don't think I am, mate. Frosty 22. I mean, look, Frosty 22. Don't get me wrong. Rafinha would be a good option. But Dembele, PSG won the league. PSG won the Champions League as well. I mean, Chit plays. Hello. I hope you're doing extremely well, and I hope that those exams are going well or have gone well. Tests went great. Just a few left now. Tulip, fantastic. Really pleased to hear that. Not Brett May. Hello. Here to torment the chat, guys. If you are here, this is we've got some of the best chat on this platform. Please get into the chat. We don't mind a good bit of banter. Just be respectful to the chat. Be respectful to the mods. We do have some fantastic mods in here. So just appreciate you being friendly and getting in the chat. And don't forget to give us a like, favourite, and subscribe as well. So get that donkey Casemiro out of your lineup. Camavinga is quality but too injury prone again, and we'll get into that, guys. Get into this get into this chat tonight. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Yo, mate, I hope you're doing well. Shorts Creator House, I hope you're doing really well, my friend, and I'm also doing well. You happy with the Chelsea game? I'm happy that we won, right? You know, I did a video, and I still think that Amorim has proved some of the critics wrong, and I'll tell you for why. Is because when we did the show, you can always tell when Amorim is done. You can't compete. Hello, my friend. I hope you're extremely well this evening. Now, you can always tell when we've done well is because you don't get so many Amorim outers, and you don't get so many people who come on. So I am like, I'll always say this, right? Against Grimsby, I'll still Amorim, right? Chelsea, Amorim. So it doesn't really matter to me. But what I like is that if you're Amorim out, be Amorim out, irrespective of whether we win, lose, or draw. Just be Amorim out. So for me, I'm happy with the win. More than happy. Do I think we played well? I do. Would it be a different story with a full 11 men? Possibly, but we won. So we sort of move on to the next one. But I tell you, not Brett May is the reason why I'm. It's not whether I'm happy or not. It doesn't matter if we don't win the next game. It doesn't matter. So I'm happy that we got the win, and I think we should celebrate a win. But it almost the results become irrelevant if we don't win the next game. So I'll enjoy the Chelsea win more if we win the next game. So you know I'm happy that we won, but if we don't win the next game, then for me, then that win becomes meaningless, because guess what we've done? We've lost yet another game. The New Year says Mainoo is good enough given the time. I agree with you, and we'll get into that as well. We'll get into Mainoo as well, maybe what we think about him again. You know, let's get into this. So I'll read some of the chats, and then we can get into all this news today. One question, JB, what's happening with you slaves? What's happening with the slaves is that I've got somebody who's taking care of them. Tom is in the chat, one of my good friends. Tom, good evening, sir. Everybody say hi to Tom in the chat. A very, very, very good friend of mine. So give your love to Tom. So let's get into this tonight. So Sir Jim, who basically loves to interfere with this football club. Now, I don't know about yourselves. Let me know how you feel about this in the chat. It's owners who basically get involved in this club, owners who stick in their nose. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this. You look like Epstein. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that, but you know, Scott, they are, but they're making the merchandise for me, not for the club. So you know, so I'm never the biggest fan of owners getting involved in the club. Now, for me, Sir Jim, who thinks this team can get Champions League football, you know, I disagree. Now, if he wants players, I think we need to be very, very mindful. So Baleba, who I believed was coming in the summer, who wanted this player coming out. I'll give you my opinion on that. You get your opinions in as well. I'll also say this: I'm not a dictator of the chat. What I do is I give my opinions. Doesn't mean my opinion is the final say. Doesn't mean my opinion is right. Doesn't mean that your opinion is wrong. I will read your opinions out because I respect them. But yeah, so Baleba for me, Baleba and Valverde is the midfield dream. Chip places I've got us finishing 6th or 7th, would have been 5th with Baleba or any other decent CM. Interesting. So for me, do I think we're going to get a midfielder in the January window? If Sir Jim wants us to finish in the Champions League places, then 100% that he has to go and get us a midfield player. Do I think he will? It's so hard to tell. We're going to see. We're going to see. So far, when we've been talking about the window in here, and we've been talking about the windows and what we scored the windows. No, if Sir Jim is serious about the club and seriously wants us to finish in the top 4, then he needs to what this is all about. Now, for me, the reaction piece, I think, comes from the Southgate piece that we spoke about. Are these deals spin today? What has Scott said? I would use the 300 million credit, 94 Baleba, 134 Valverde. I'm not sure about it, mate. The problem is, Scott, right? I don't disagree that he's a bad player, but I don't want to keep signing these players at like 130 million pounds. The yardstick for me, Scott, is that, and I don't disagree with that, is if Madrid are willing to sell their players, I don't want them, because Madrid don't sell players unless there's something wrong. So I'm not disagreeing with you, Scott, at all, mate. I respect the opinion, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Now, Baleba, again, let's talk about this. So what worries me about him is that, again, I've been talking on here about low mentality players, right? Benja, I'm at work too. Stuck late. Benja, working late is never good, my friend. So Baleba, for me, is the reason why I'm starting to be dissuaded on him. And I agree with you, can't compete. Is that why are we funding? Right, so let's start with like the 130 million pounds here, right? Is that we will be funding Madrid for the next couple of years, right? Well, maybe he is worth that amount of money. I don't want to see us go and get him. We're not in that position. We are not that club to be spending 130 million pounds on one player. Now, theoretically, Scott, if we had that money and we were that club who were third, fourth, and maybe finished in the Champions League like in the last 2 to 3 seasons, maybe we should do that. But right now, we're not that club. I want us to sign those players who are not 130 million players, pounds. We're not that club. But I absolutely rate the player, and I don't disagree with the player signing, but I just don't think we're that club. Now, Baleba, for me, I don't know why Sir Jim is backing this player, because he's never been interested before. And if Sir Jim wanted to sign this player, then why didn't he sign him already? Like, I don't understand this. The window is closed. It's almost a bit like when your other half wants to buy a bag, and she's like, oh, this bag is like 100 quid. And you're going, oh, yeah, right, yeah. And then you let it go for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then the bag is sold out. And then you go, oh, you could have had that bag. I know it was expensive. But it's almost a bit like Sir Jim, now the window is closed, can actually say that, oh, yeah, well, we can sign this player. Well, we can sign that player. His actions are going to speak louder than words. Now, Baleba, do I still want Baleba? Yes. But what worries me, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite on this, Shahid, please tell me, mate, look, you're out here. I'm genuinely not entertaining that, my friend. There are other channels for that, my friend. Just not here. Greetings from Croatia, Tomislav. I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Too much money, I agree. I bought Valverde on FIFA 26 and it cost me 180. JB, who deserved the Ballon d'Or for you? I would give it to. I'd give it to Scotty Mac. I would, not because he should get it, but I think what he's done, from the criticism that he got, right, to being the best player in the Italian league, winning the league, I would give him it. I am biased on it. I'm not going to lie. I think I genuinely would make a case for him, because he got absolutely destroyed. Before I started the channel, I'm not going to lie, was one of the first people in there to, say that he wasn't great. I would give it to him, but he's not going to get it. So I think Dembele for me. I love a redemption arc. All the teams that he's played for. He's promised so much. Got injured. But he seems to have got over that. So for me, Dembele. John Mayer says Liverpool is scary this season. I would say, John, that Liverpool are scary, not because they're playing well, just because they can still win and not play very, very well. So that's why they're scary to me, is because they're not playing the best and they're still winning games. So, are Liverpool going to come a cropper? Yes. But just think about this: when Liverpool actually start playing well, it's going to be a massacre. Tom says, since Fergie left, United have signed so many big names for big prices, and they flopped. I much rather look to players for the Premier League sides who are proven in the league. Tom, I don't disagree, my friend. I almost want to get those players before they become like a household name. We definitely, I think 100% our backbone of this club should be Premier League proven players, and should be players that we know can get a 7 out of 10. And then you supplement those with maybe players from the Belgian league, from the Brazilian league. That's how we should do it. We shouldn't just be buying one striker. We should already have a Shesko in, and then this season you go buy another striker. Alvarez at City for me is the best example of that. They bought Haaland and then they brought him in, and then they sold him for like 90 million. These are the signings that we sort of need to get. But I do want to see more Premier League proven strikers, but also or players. But I personally also want to see us buying the players before they become stars. Liverpool are there to be beaten. I think they are. I think Scotty Mac, I regret calling for him to be sold. I'm so pleased for him. So Yellow says Ten Hag in. Oh, I love it, mate. That is hilarious. Hi. Predictions for our next 3 league games. Okay, so right, this is what I want to see. Okay, and so I've predicted, and I don't want to be proved correct on this. So I predicted 8 points from 8. Okay, I think that Brentford are there to be taken. I think we beat Brentford. I think we draw against Sunderland, and I think we lose to Liverpool. I just can't see us winning 3 games on the bounce. I think maybe we'll get some momentum into the next international break, and then we'll lose it. And then Liverpool will come around, and then I think that they'll probably win. I hate predicting losses, but I think we'll beat Brentford. I think we'll draw against Sunderland, and then I think we'll lose. So I think we'll take 4 from 9. Now, I stand to be corrected on this. More than happily be wrong on this. But if we take 8 from 8, so I predicted 8 from 8, so that means that we'd have to basically draw and lose the next 2. Then I think there are going to be more questions around the manager, and then the Amorim out brigade will start again. Scotty says 2 wins and a draw, mate. I really hope so. Draw, win, draw. Chip Play says, question for JB in the chat: who is the best Premier League never to? Who is the best player to never win a Ballon d'Or in the last 50 years? Did Zidane win the Ballon d'Or? I know Nedved won it, didn't he? Figo won it. Did Zidane win the Ballon d'Or? Roberto Carlos, did he win it? Who else Who else? Trying to go back. I only really think of players. Did Lineker win a Ballon d'Or? I mean, for whatever people said about him, I mean, he was good. Zidane won it 3 times. See, ignore me. Phil Jones never won it. Who never won a Ballon d'Or? Tell you what, I'm so tired. My brain's gone. This evening, I'm just trying to think of players in the 80s. Well, I mean, think about this. Did Trevor Francis win a Ballon d'Or? You know, I'm sure he won the European Cup, didn't he, with Nottingham Forest? What about Liverpool players of the 80s? Did Kenny Dalglish win it? My brain, I can't think. Vidic, Giggs, yeah. I never won it either, Tom. Brilliant. I love it. So, guys, get me your opinions in on Sir Jim, Xavi. Get your opinions in on Sir Jim. So, one of the things I want to ask, Gaza, but what did Gaza do though? I mean, like, if you're talking about, I know he was an amazing player, but if we're talking about, things that he actually did, but I don't disagree with that. Sir Jim. So I want to ask the chat this, right? Is Sir Jim? Do we think he's pandering to basically, he's putting things out because he knows Southgate, the rumor that was put out by a credible source that basically Southgate is going to be the new coach if Amorim is sacked. And I think that if people who want him out, I think it's a very, very be careful what you wish for, because we're talking about Zidane's and we're talking about Xavi's, and I just don't think that is going to happen. So I think Sir Jim might be on a little bit of a spin tour. Now, does he want Baleba? In my view, he should have gone and got him then, shouldn't he? Now, if he wanted him in this squad, I absolutely, Amorim gives off AVB vibes. That's an interesting one. Sarge. That's a very, very, because what I will say is I'm Amorim out because I'm Amorim in because I don't want him out just yet. I don't want another manager to be sacked, but I have to be consistent, and I've got to be fair and say like, Amorim may not be the guy. Amorim might not actually be the guy, but I just don't think sacking managers. Scott, I am Amorim in. Amorim in. I do not want Amorim sacked because I just don't think that's worked out. Even when we lost to Grimsby, Amorim in. Even when we've not played well, Amorim in. I still don't think these players are good enough. I don't think these players are suited to the system. So I think it's a mixture of both. But I also think that Amorim is not playing people in the right positions either. And I've also got a bit of an opinion on that as well, which I will give you in a second. Tulip Play says, Beinda's passing has been good this season. If only he could work on saving corners, he'd be playable. Tulip, he punched a corner. He came out and he actually punched a corner, which I probably celebrated more than a goal. He actually came out and punched a corner. So, but he's been all right. I mean, he's not been great. He cost us a win against Arsenal, a draw against Arsenal. So he's been all right, but I still don't think he's great. The men should be integrated into the team now. It's really difficult, Tulip. I mean, I almost think we should stick him both. But also, again, I've also got an opinion on Le Mans as well with Amorim, and I'll give you my opinion on Amorim and this team as well. And you get me your opinions in as well. The Truth for Truth says, who would they get if they did? Southgate. it's going to be Southgate. If you think from a logical perspective, right, it would cost us a lot of money which we don't have. The financial statements allude to this fact. You want a manager that's going to come in and play with these players, who's going to come in and be a mouthpiece, who's going to come in and be a Sir Jim supporter, who's going to come in and do what he's told. It's going to be Southgate. It's going to be Southgate all day long. And I think that as much as you can want Xavi, you can want Zidane, you can want the Crystal Palace manager, you can want the Bournemouth manager, it's not going to be them. It's going to be Southgate. Serge says, I think the managers need 3 windows before tough decisions are made. Agree with you completely. For me, this is Amorim's very first season in charge. Last season, they just weren't his players. They weren't his players. You know, they just weren't his players. But I do accept the stats don't lie. And for those of you who like stats, I cannot deny, because it's there, that he needs to win more games. But I'm of the opinion that how can you blame a manager who didn't want to take a job? Ineos shouldn't have hired him. You know, if they, I don't get why they went, while we were a club who plays a back four, they went for a guy who simply doesn't play that system and not give him his players. So I fully accept the Amorim hours. I get it. I'm Amorim in until I don't need to be Amorim in or out, because what I'm going to say now is I'll come on to that as well. I think the Artful Bodger says if he can't deliver with the set of players he has, at least Europe next season, then he must go. Again, interesting opinions. Artful. I disagree, because he's been given 3 players. Well, he's been given 4 players now, but I just don't think it's good enough. But I don't disagree with your opinion. Like, I read his opinions out because I respect your opinions, but I disagree because I think he needs at least another window. Good evening, Rob. Good evening to you. A United manager should be able to play more than one system. Tom, I think that's a very interesting point as well. Amorim is very, very stubborn. I'm not going to hide that. I think he's tactically adaptable. I don't know, but I'm still adamant that this is not the system. It's not the formation as we saw in the last game. It's down to players, but it's down to 2 facts. Number one, he doesn't have the players to play the system. Can you argue from a formation system perspective that is their fault? Maybe not. I blame the mentality. But should Amorim do something? It's almost like if you don't have the tools to the job, if you don't have the tools for the job and you're still trying to do the job with the tools that don't work, then surely you need to adjust for the tools that you've got. Because if you want to survive and you're playing them in positions they don't even want to play in, and I'm not saying pander to them, but if you don't put them in the right positions, then you're going to get yourself sacked. So I'm coming to this realization myself, is that Amorim does need to be tactically better. I think he needs to just play people in their positions. You know, take out Luke Shaw. You know, put Bruno back in 10. And I think Tom's right. I think he needs to be more adaptable, or at least more flexible in his teams. Ten Hag for Coach of the Year. He also makes sketchy subs. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that one. I really am not going to. I can't, because I think sometimes there's his decision making is not great. Garnacho sitting on the bench was poetic. I agree completely. No, I don't know if anybody saw that. If anybody saw that the run that he did, and he barged past Euro. Petulant kid. I think he's a fool. as I said at the time, the thing that made me laugh the most was I can just imagine him sat there at night thinking about scoring like the winning goal. I bet he trained extra hard. I bet he was revved up thinking how he was going to score a goal and run up to the fans and stick his fingers up and run to the coach, and hilarious. Actually made me laugh. Like you're seeing Xerxes, I'm ready to put a performance. Xerxes, mate, I don't think he's ready. Finney says the only Premier League win is probably a 2-1. It's not, is it? Tom says I actually think Southgate would be worse. Not a fan. Southgate would be horrific. Southgate would absolutely be horrific. He's a politician. He would be here to do the bidding of the Glazers, be here to do the bidding of Sir Jim. It would be horrific. Southgate, terrible. If we get rid of Ruben, we should get a roller from Bournemouth. I don't disagree, but yesterday I think it was the day before, from a very credible source, Sir Jim likes Southgate, and it's going to be Southgate. It is so going to be Southgate. Inabasu says he needs to learn from play change between different tactical systems. Again, I'm not going to disagree with any of that, because as we've seen, he hasn't always got it right. I'm still going to maintain that I'm going to maintain that fundamentally it's not the tactics and it's not the formation, because we can play it. Okay, we've shown that 2 or 3 times. It's more so, it's 2 things. One, not playing players in the correct positions, playing the wrong players. I don't think Luke Shaw should be getting in this team. Bruno is a 10, but being so stubborn that you can't even change your principles for the players that you can't. These players find this system difficult. Make it simpler. And I'm not saying you got to go to a back 4, and I'm not saying go against your principles. But what I'm saying is, if you want to stay in this job, you need to. If you're asking your team to do things that they've never done, why can't you do the things? Why can't you do the same things as well? So if you're asking your players who've never played a back 3 before, playing in a different system, why can't you, as a manager, also adapt and just admit your system isn't going to work just yet because you don't have your players? But then at the same time, if you're expecting them to be flexible, then why can't you be flexible? So, I even though I am hammering in, I'm still not going to let him get away with things like that. He needs to learn from I agree. The Oxford says Southgate has only managed Borough and England. Exactly. Tom, we should have got Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank, let's see. I think Thomas Frank, I think is a good coach. My only thing, and I'll say this about Zidane, Thomas Frank, Southgate, I don't think you're going to get a tune out of these players. I just don't know. They can turn it on when they want to and turn it off. Until we purge this club of certain players, I don't think. And also, I'm going to go again. I've said this, until we get rid of the ownership, the toxicity in this club that starts with the Glazers, this club will never progress. I almost think the manager and the players are a redundant point, because until we get rid of this Ineos and we get rid of the debt, we're always going to have this. And Wilcox came out of it as well. So in case anybody missed it, Wilcox, and nobody's talking about this enough for me, is that Wilcox did an interview, he did a dinner, and he was on like a circuit sort of tour, and he was talking away. And one of the things that he said, that he wasn't saying it to call out the Glazers, but he said it. And one of the things he said was, when he got to this club, there was no alignment between the manager, no alignment between the owners, no alignment between the football, no alignment between the academy. What have these Glazers been doing? And this is my point. What have these football people been doing for all these years? and he's just exposed them. So no matter what we do right now, and these players are so the players reflect, in my view, the players reflect the club. What we are commercially, we're very, very good. So the players look good. We sign some really, really good players. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but ultimately it's a scattergun approach. It's such a, you just don't know what you're about to get. You just don't know what the Glazers will do next. You don't know what Sir Jim will do next. So you don't know. There's no stability. There's no platform for these players to be stable and want to win for this club anymore. Scott said, say that name again, JB, and I will unsub you because you used that language on here. Sorry, my friend. Apologies. I can't wait for United to fumble the Xerxes contract. Chelsea is waiting for him. I don't think Xerxes is all that, mate. I don't. I think he'll go. I want Xerxes to come into this squad, but if Amorim is here, there are certain players in my view that are not going to get a look in to the side, and this is where I'll do a segue and a pivot into Real Madrid. So there is there's two things that I've seen. I've seen, number one, a swap deal with Mainoo. United, and we can get on to Mainoo as well. So give me your opinions on that as well. So the story, and as it goes, is that the problem with Mainoo right now is that he wants 200k a week. Now, whether you believe that or not, do I think there's some truth in that? Possibly. Mainoo is agents are the same agents of Dean Henderson. Now, what that does mean is that they'll always do the best for their client. They're very difficult to negotiate with, and they will negotiate an exit for him from this club. So I'm of the opinion that Kobbie Mainoo needs to try to get rid of these cretins. I think that Mainoo will be a fool if he leave this club. I don't want to see him leave, but I think he will. I think this agency has got in his ear, and these stories will not go away. And I think the character of Amorim is he only wants players who are going to want to be here. And I think this is going to be one of the decisions that will be bad for both player and the manager. And it could go terribly wrong in the worst way, that Mainoo could end up going to a rival, and in the next 2-3 years be probably one of the best players in the world. Now, if Real Madrid, and we can come on to this as well, so Camavinga has been mentioned. So the latest thing today is that Real Madrid will offer Camavinga, or we will offer Camavinga for Mainoo in a swap deal. If Real Madrid are willing to go anywhere near this deal, then you know that it's a bad deal for us, because Real Madrid do not sell players that they want. So Valverde was mentioned as well. If they want to sell him, any players that they want to sell, I don't want. I want the players that they don't want to sell. Then that's why you sort of end up paying massive money. So do I think there's any... Do I ultimately think there's a truth in this deal? Possibly. Camavinga is very, very injury prone. I think that Real Madrid know this. I hope he stay well away from this deal. I think it would be such a mistake for us to do that. This is one of this is when you want a manager to stay or go, right? I don't want him to be sacked, but there comes a time where you go, there's certain things that even if you're winning on the pitch, there are certain things that you go, look, it's coming to a point where the manager has been so stubborn that it makes your mind change. And if Amorim doesn't get Mainoo into the squad, and then sells this player, I'm not saying I'm going to start to change my mind, but there will be bigger questions for me, because Mainoo is a talent. There is no doubt. And I question myself, is it stubbornness? Is this something that he knows that we don't? What is it about Mainoo where he doesn't get a game? So again, get your opinions in on this if you think it's true. If you just think it's spin because we've been linked to Southgate, is it because we've got a game on the weekend? Maybe something's going on and they're just trying to deflect the spin from that. But this talk of transfers again, I don't get it. The window's been closed and they're suddenly talking about midfielders again. Like, we're not stupid. This feels like a massive spin to me. The truth was said, do you think Amorim will ever play different besides 3-4-3? I think if they spread the field, 4-3-3 will give them the better options and two defensive midfielders settle back. Again, I can't disagree. I cannot disagree with you, because I admire that Amorim wants to play the system, and he should play his system. But if you don't have the players to play the system, it's like if you're going to ask me to build a brick wall with a knife and fork, I can't do it. So I give you back like the knife and fork, and you give me a trowel, and then I can do the job. So I just think that whilst I think he should stick to his principles, at least play players in their right position. Number one. At least play Bruno in his position. At least take Luke Shaw out of this side. Take Casemiro out of this side. Give players a chance. And if he's not prepared to do that, there's absolutely no chance that he's going to play a 4-3-3. So I think that with this squad, he's not going to harm. But I just wonder, is it stubbornness from him, or is it a lack of understanding of the Premier League? I just don't know. I agree, JB. I think eventually Ineos will probably go to Southgate. Scary times. So I said, give me the job on 400 mil. I'll get this team sorted out. Jimmy Shilajori, I'm Zimbabwe. Welcome, my friend. It must be a meme. Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. The truthful truth, I'm glad that Rashford is playing well. So glad Grealish is playing well. Hate to see. Do you know what? That's a very, very. I like that comment. I do. I think there is no malice in football. There's no need to wish ill for a player. Even a certain player who's gone to the blue side. As much as I think he's a little bit of a prat. No, I don't wish him harm. He's a young lad, but I want these players. I want Rashford to be a world-class player, because it means that we're going to get money for him. Some players thrive well at different clubs and they look happier and they're better. Rashford, for example, didn't start in the game at the weekend because he was late. He's going to learn from that. He's 26, 27. He should be away from that now, but I really hope he does well. So I'm actually pleased to hear people say that, because these are young guys, even 30 years young compared to me. So I do wish these guys well, and I genuinely hope that he goes on and he wins a Champions League or he wins a league, because he's a young guy. Who won the Ballon d'Or? I don't know. Thomas May says, I think Baleba is the best player for United, but which midfielder will leave, Ugarte or Casemiro? So, Thomas, Casemiro is going to leave. I have heard Casemiro may get a year's extension. I hope not. I think Casemiro will leave. Casemiro is already playing on a beach. You can see it, right? So Casemiro goes. So what should have happened this year is we should have got a midfielder in now. So next season, we're going to need 2, possibly 3. So if Mainoo goes as well, we're going to need 3 midfielders. Ugarte, I'm going to say it now. I think he's done. I don't like Ugarte. He's too inconsistent. I don't think he's been great. I think, how long has he been here? A year or two? I'll give him until Christmas time, and if he's improved, then fine. But right here and now, I think he hinders this team. So Baleba, as I said, I'll come on to my opinion on him. My problem with him now is that his head has been turned, right? So I want to see players who knuckle down. So even though they don't get their move, like a Guehi, okay? So Guehi didn't get his move, okay? You didn't see him going to the media. You didn't see him moaning. You didn't see him complaining. You didn't hear him whinge. You didn't hear him, he wasn't on strike. So Guehi just got on with it. Baleba's not doing that. Baleba's not playing. Baleba's had his head turned. We can say and maybe argue a case that Baleba is a young guy. He's sort of had his head turned and he's not playing well. But this is what I'm talking about, IQ players. This is what I'm talking about, mentality players. I want a player, do I now want to pay 90 million for him? No, I don't. I do not want to pay 100 million for him. After the way that he's played this season, I'm like, mate, you're worth 70 million. But Brighton are not going to do the deal. So Brighton are not going to do a deal 70 million in this next window. Absolutely not. So they're still going to want the 90 million. And from what I'm seeing right now, I don't want to pay that for him. I wanted to see a reaction from him. If he was still cutting up trees at Brighton, he was still playing fantastically well, irrespective of who came in for him. He didn't get his move, and he still played well. I'd be just like, do you know what? Yeah, but he's obviously got a mentality problem, and this is why it's so important to vet players, because I don't want a Baleba to come in and then his head drops because again he's infected by what's happening here, and then we've spent 100 million on a flop. That I'm not saying that that's going to happen, and maybe it's just a case of he really wants to come to us, and that's the pay. He could come here and he could be a world-class player. But what I'm saying is, when we sign these players for like 100 million, we have to take this into consideration. We have to look at the mentality. We have to sign players who, irrespective of where they play and who they play for, want to win. Ethan says, hello, my friend. The Artful Bodger says, I think De Ligt, Bruno, Cunha, Ahmad, Delo and Mbuma can stay. Agree with you. Xerxes is... Agree with you. I don't think he is. I think Xerxes will stay next season, in my opinion. Thomas, what do you mean, stay at Napoli or come back? I want Højlund to go for his sake. I don't think he'll come back. I want Højlund to be happy. Again, that's another player that I think we did him massively dirty, and I would like him to stay. But I want him to stay where he's happiest. So if he can do it at Napoli, do it, because I think he deserves it. I think that, I'm not saying that he was a fantastic player. He gave it his best, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's okay. The sad thing is, too many players have left this club and gone on to do good things when we've all been told, or we tell people that they're not very good. And those times have to now stop, because we can't be spun around again. So, I think that he's gone. And if he's happy, I think, yeah, 100%. Mainoo, seen it 1,000 times before. A wonder kid gets a big head, falls apart, finishes his career at West Brom or something. Look how many times we've seen that exact scenario play out. Exactly, Artful. I think with Mainoo, there are two things here. Number one, I think he is too big for his boots. I think the agency's pushing this as well. I think he's asking for 200k a week. I wouldn't give him like 100k right now. He's had one good. What I'll say about him is that he's 20 years old, right? He's got time. He's going to grow. Again, you don't finish your growth as a man or a boy until you're 21, right? he's still going to grow. So he wasn't great last season because he's inconsistent, because he's a young lad. He's not a Rooney. He's not a Lamar. He's not a Giggs. No, they come through early and they were able to come into the side and stay in that side because they were, because they are talents. Mainoo is a different position. I'm not saying he's not a talent, but he's not of that level. He's going to be inconsistent and it's going to take him time. So in 18 months' time, he's going to be a fantastic player. But I'm worried that this has gone to his head. And if they are trying to get him as a 200k player, then he's going to have to go. It's crazy. Chip Play says, Mainoo has looked good for a few minutes. He's deserved to start. Tulip, I mean, I don't disagree. My only comeback on that will be the Grimsby game. Why couldn't you run the Grimsby game? I absolutely... I don't understand why he got his chance against a League Two side and he sort of failed out. He kind of failed. So I don't disagree with you, but I'm not too sure. Tom says, on a positive note, I heard on the radio last night that we have the best XG in the league so far this season. Cause for... Am I optimistic, Tom, on that? This is what I think on it, right? Is that when it's almost like the eye test, right? I don't disagree that we've got the highest XG, but when you use your eyes, right, and you look at it, I don't see how we've got the highest XG because we don't put balls into the box. Like we've had shots and we've created a chance, but the XG, the chances, I don't know how accurate that is. So what I mean is like if you look at Fernandes last season, right? Fernandes' stats, fantastic. But if you actually watch him, he was shit last season. He actually was terrible in the final. He goes missing in the big games, but his stats look good. And if you didn't watch a game, then you probably would have thought he was an amazing player last season. But Fernandes was crap last season. So that's the same problem with me for XG, is that on paper, the stats look great. But reality-wise, Shesko hasn't had a sniff. So I like it, but for me, I think it only tells part of the story. And so this is why watching a game, and I don't know, Tom, if you've watched the games, but I just don't see it. We might be scoring high in XG, but my eyes are just like, I just don't see it. Price says, Mainoo. Rob says, I think the players on 300k a week wages will be gone. Rob, exactly that. You bring in Bermo Cunha, I think they're on 150, 180. Just goes on, I think, 150. Mainoo is never getting that. So if Mainoo wants that, he's gone. Yes, and Scotty includes Bruno. Bruno, I think will go. I do. Kingley says, what do you think about Galatasaray versus Liverpool? Do you give me a score? Do you give me score opinion? I will, King. Considering Galatasaray got absolutely annihilated away, I know Galatasaray. I know your ground is a cauldron. I know the ground is very, very intimidating. I remember when Cantona and Giggsy played there in one of the first Champions League games, and they lost, and it was horrific. Liverpool will beat you. Liverpool will go to your place and beat you. Galatasaray are not going to beat you. I just don't think they will. So I think Liverpool are going to go to Galatasaray and have a nice, comfortable win. The Artful Body says Ferguson made Giggsy live with his mum till he was 21. Exactly. I was going to say something. I was going to say something really, really horrible then, but I'm not going to say it about Giggsy. I heard on the radio that Amorim told his players to watch the Ballon d'Or to get some fire in their bellies. I mean, Jesus Christ. But Sir Jim cancelled the TV licence. Oh, I love it, Lawrence. I love it, mate. I love it. I absolutely love it, Lawrence. That's brilliant, mate. I love it. Brilliant. I've already read that one. United Road, being wedded to this formation will be the undoing of this manager. United Road, I can't disagree, mate. Amorim has been very, very stubborn. Very, very stubborn. I will say, and I'm not going to, if you watched the show before, I'm going to say, I still don't think it's his tactics, right? His tactics worked against Chelsea, against Arsenal. They worked against Fulham in the first half. City as well. City were crap. We were good up until City scored. The problem is not the tactics. It's two things. Number one, it is the players are not suited to the system. Okay. And I don't necessarily think that they're the best for the system, and the mentality of the players are not right. But where I have to concede to you guys is that the bit I don't get, and I don't get this, right? The same as I don't get people who are hammering out, and I'm not saying that you're wrong for that, by the way. I'm just saying that those people who are hammering out, I don't get it because, in my opinion, the manager's had one season, really. They weren't his players, and even after 4 games with 3 points off of second, right? But I also can't understand how Amorim plays a system with players who can't play his system and not tweak it. So it baffles me, some of the decisions that he makes. His substitutions are not great. And this formation, whilst I would staunchly say this, it's not the formation in itself. You don't have the players to play it. So you're going to have to play a formation that more suits these players. Because then what that then means it means it buys him more time, and then next season play the 3-4-3. But this season tweak it. Like this is the bit that I'm with people on, is this stubbornness for the sake of stubbornness. I just don't know. Bobby Redman says, give Ruben a 10-year extension contract. Welcome, Bobby, to the chat, my friend. Yeah, I'd give him that, my friend. I dislike fans who think newly signed players come in and are expected to score in the first 2 games. Truthful truth. Agree with you, mate. Breaking news, Dembele wins it. Amazing. I can't see it, so I don't know if that's true. Just bear with me. If Dembele has won it, just someone confirm it. I'm really, really happy for him. I think what a redemption story for Dembele. I think it's what a story, brilliant story, because the injuries that he's been through, he was written off, really, and he's come back. So I think that is amazing. Truth for truth, I agree with you. Xerxes last season was being called out because, in the first 3-4 games, Shesko is being called a flop, right? I mean, the kid's 22. I know he's got a big, £6 to £8 million. That is not his fault. He's going to take time. He's going to take time. So you've got the likes of an Ekitike. No, he's been great. I think he's been really good. But you look at the side that he's gone into. Gyökeres. He's not set the world on fire, but people are not calling him out, because he's going to need time. I'd even say Gyökeres right now is probably a bigger flop on the basis he's 27, he's in his prime, and he needs to score goals. He's scored 2 goals. One was a penalty, and okay, the first goal was good, but he's not really scored goals. So, I'm sorry, I think he scored 3, hasn't he? But, he's not been great either. So Shesko is a young kid. It's gonna take him time. Blue It says Rafinha 5th. Truth, Liverpool are playing unbelievable right now. The Barca fans and media pushing Yamal were a big reason. give Ruben and all his backroom staff a 10-year extension on their contracts? Bobby, I'd say yes to that, my friend. Kevin McGee, does anyone here think we were good against Chelsea? Yeah, me. I look, the Chelsea game's one of those games where I think you can use it to further an agenda, right? I think United were good until Casemiro. We blew Chelsea away, right? We caused the keeper to be Sanchez. We caused Sanchez to be sent off, right? We put the ball over the top to get him sent off, right? Conversely, Casemiro's sending off was like a cheap sending off. No, it wasn't because Chelsea did something so amazing for Casemiro to walk, but we got Sanchez sent off because of the play, right? We came out ferociously. I thought we played great. And it's really hard to say. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, if it was 11 v 11, we would have won the match. We don't know. I predicted a 2-2. But I still think, I think we proved again that it wasn't the formation. Okay, fine. When we went down to 10 men. What I liked about it was our heads didn't drop. Now, it could have dropped and we could have potentially lost that game, but we didn't. So, do I think we played well? I think we played well in patches, but a win's a win. I mean, for me, right, Chelsea now is an irrelevant game. The Chelsea game only becomes valuable and only becomes good if we win the next game. So, let's see. Every good coach needs to have the ability to change with the flow of the game. United are not capable of changing, or Amorim will not change. Truthful, I think it's somewhere in between. I think that Amorim is a good coach, but I think he's stubborn. I think he's very young. I think he's stubborn. I think we were good during the first half. Philip Rome says, "Good evening, sir. Camavinga is made of glass and very injury prone. Actually, he's already injured." Exactly, Philip. I wouldn't go anywhere near this player. He's not for me. Definitely, he is not for me. But let's see. The truth, Shaw definitely doesn't need to be a centre back. Luke Shaw for me doesn't need to be anywhere near this team. I don't want him in this team. I don't like him in this team. I'm sure he's a lovely player who's good to his nan and all that stuff, but yeah, he is not for me. Makapuku says Camavinga is awesome. Get him, please. I don't know with Camavinga. I think he was. I think he's injury prone. I like him. But again, you don't know the Camavinga, right? I'll always say this, right? Any players at Madrid want you to sign, don't sign him. Ballon d'Or has lost its credibility with that top 10. Dembele to United. Andre, not in a million years. Ballon d'Or hasn't been relevant since 95. The Ballon d'Or is just politics. Yes, it is, 100%. Yes, Dembele deserved over Lamine and Mbappe, but not Rafinha. Interesting. Bobby Redman says, "Lol, who gonna leave Madrid for United?" Sorry, you must mean the women's team. Well done, Bobby. That's a good one. Casemiro did. All right, Casemiro was shit, but Casemiro left. But again, Bobby, that's funny, Bobby. Bobby, do you know what's funny about that comment, Bobby? Didn't Trent leave? Didn't Trent leave for Real Madrid? Didn't even though Liverpool just won the league? Didn't a certain Trent mug you guys off and then decided to leave for Madrid on a free? Didn't Trent, who's probably worth the best part of 70 million, didn't Trent leave you lot for Madrid? So what I'm saying is people in glass houses should not throw stones. Nuno Mendes was best player last season by a country mile. They said the same thing about Mbappe when to Madrid. They expected him to be brilliant, and when the first couple of games he didn't score. Exactly. Hussein Jamal says Baleba. Dembele. We got luck with the red card against the keeper. True, but Chelsea also got a little bit of luck as well. True says that need the attacking and put crosses into the box. Exactly, I agree, JB. It's the players actually struggling to fit the system. But not many teams play a back three in the Premier League. Still not a fan of playing a back three. You know, I'm not. Matthias says, ciao. Hello, my friend. I'm not a fan of a back three. Like, I would still say that it's not the formation, it's not the tactics, right? But doesn't mean that I'm a fan of the back three. You know, I'm not a fan of this back three. But there's no point, in my opinion, is that trying to even argue it, because he's not going to do it, and it's gonna wind you up. It's gonna wind you up, because we all know how stubborn he is. And for those of you who want him sacked, eventually he's going to sack himself. And for those of you who don't, it's just going to frustrate you, because you know, if he just does a few more tweaks, and Rob, it's not the three at the back, bro. It's 5-2-3. Glasner plays a three back, but plays 3-4-2-1 when out of possession. That's the major difference. Exactly, Rob. I was noticing that there are a few games in the Premier that start with three at the back and then they change. Luke Shaw is as good as a centre back as Amorim is a coach. Emmy, that's hilarious. We need a right back. 34-16. Come on, people. Tap the screen. Get some Chinese kids. Exactly. It's like they say, right? If you give a man a fish, he'll feed his family for a day. If you give my Chinese slaves some food, I'll feed them for the night. You know, you got to think about them. Why is Amorim? So we'll get on to that as well, Jay. Yeah. So Costa, we'll get on to that as well. So that's been in there today as well. And again, I've got another opinion on Amorim towards that as well. Casemiro legs are gone. He can't play for 90 minutes. He's good for 30 minutes. Exactly. Look, Casemiro for me. Casemiro is no doubt he had an amazing career, right? What a player. Amazing player. You know, the only thing that's wrong with him is he's got old, like all of us, right? Some of us, you know, the ones of us who are lucky enough to get older, things don't work anymore. Well, the important things do anyway. But, you know, like your arms and your legs, they get tighter. You know, I used to go to the gym 6 times a week. Now I can be asked to go maybe twice. You know, it changes. And Casemiro is a high-end athlete, and he's just tired. People in stone houses should not throw glass. Exactly that. Yeah. People in stone houses... Emmy, I'm tired, my friend. I'm absolutely knackered. Chelsea have won all European Cups. No, Premier League has done up Chelsea. Okay, Paul. I mean, look. Do you know what I think, Paul, is quite, not embarrassing, but I tell you what I think is quite lame, is that Chelsea wearing that fucking Club World Cup badge on their chest like they won a World Cup. I'm sorry. What a bag of shit. I mean, look, if you respect the Club World Cup, right? Fantastic, right? United won the Club World, right? But they've now disbanded that because, you know, but we won it, right? I mean, if you're trying to use the Club World Cup and the Conference League Cup as a badge of honour, I mean, look, I get it, right? People want to win cups and stuff like that. But I mean, Paul, parading that fucking sad gold thing on your chest because you won a Club World Cup. I mean, come on. I mean, really? Back three always leaves wingers free to play havoc once they get past the wingers. No one can beat old man time. Exactly. John Wick. Who's better than United? Who's better, United or Liverpool? What do you mean? Do you mean better as in better football team, better fans, better history, better club, better, I think we're very similar. Liverpool more relevant right now. If you're asking me who's better, Liverpool are the better club right now. They are more relevant. They are more successful. They've got better owners. They are better run than us. They are top of the league. They won a Premier League last season. They're in Champions League. So if you're asking me in terms of that, I would not shy away from answering questions like that, right? United will always be better for me because they will be. But I can also appreciate a team like Liverpool who have the majority of the fans that come on here are respectful. They're a very, very well-run club. And this pains me to say this, by the way. I don't just say it because I'm being nice. It pains me to say it, but they're a better-run club. But we are just an irrelevant club. But who do I think is better? I also think that my club's better. Basically, guys, back 5-3, whatever you call it. But for me, would rather us play a back 4-3 midfield, but we know it won't happen. Exactly. IS88 edits. Hi, bro. How are you? I'm very well. I hope you are as well. Do you think pigeons are spies? That's a funny question. I think that pigeons are sky rats. Yeah, pigeons are sky rats. Bayern even slaps Chelsea. Bayern even slap Chelsea. They in elite yet. Yeah. Truthful truth. If you were a player, what would be better trophy? The Carabao Cup, FA Cup, or Premier League? Premier League. All day long. Premier League. What's the top 2 favourite to win the Champions League this season? That's a good question. I don't know. I think you've got to put Liverpool in there. I think Liverpool, and I think you'd have to put... Would you put PSG back up in there? For me, Liverpool. I think Liverpool and PSG, Madrid. Probably PSG, Madrid, Liverpool. He says, yes, I do, sir. They work in the same area of expertise. Gerard says, hi, hello, my friend. Rob, I agree. Honestly, I would love if Amorim played a 4-3-3 with defensive midfielders. Love from Nigeria. Welcome, my friend. Premier League all day. Love from Uganda. Got to watch out for Inter, Bayern, and Madrid. Inter Milan. I don't know. Right, Costa. Let's get on to the final part of the show so I can let you wonderful people get on with the rest of your evenings. So Costa. Benjamin, Arsenal. No, mate. I don't think Arsenal are going to come anywhere near it, mate. Look, all right, Benja. I want Arsenal to win the Premier League, all right, and the reason for that is because I don't want Liverpool to win another Premier League. I don't want City to win another Premier League. The only team, in my opinion, that can win a Premier League other than those two is Arsenal. If Arsenal won if Arsenal won a Champions League, brilliant. If Arsenal won a Premier League, brilliant. If Arsenal won both this season, fantastic. But I just don't think they will. I just don't know what it is about them. I don't know what it is about Arsenal. I don't know what it is about Arsenal. I just can't put my finger on why they can't get it over. Is it the coach? I don't think it is. Is it a mentality thing? I don't know. Like, are Arsenal becoming the new Spurs? And what I mean by that is, I mean that Spursy were being Spursy, and Arsenal are not winning stuff. So are Arsenal being like, I don't know, like have they got this hoodoo now because they've not won the league in 20 odd years, never won the Champions League. I want them to do it, but I just don't know. I think Ruben isn't good enough to coach a big club like United. John Wick, mate, like I can't argue with that because we don't know. Amorim may not be the guy, but I think he needs time. He needs time. Whilst 88 says, I'm sure that club was nothing. All the players were doomed back and playing in the middle of summer, and they still flex a bit. Exactly. The club World Cup. What a load of nonsense. Do you drop booking game? I know player that was scared yesterday. I think Liverpool will win the double, unfortunately. Oh, let's hope not. Benji says, one play with intensity and we score. Otherwise, we played scared ball. I know. Arsenal wouldn't win any trophy this season. Aloka Peter, I hope they do. I think Arsenal are capable. They are capable, but I agree with Hedgie. They are bottle jobs. They bottle it. I hope they don't bottle it. But they're the best that we've got for Liverpool not to win the league. If Liverpool win the league again, it's because they're the best side. They've been playing crap and they still win. I mean, they're giving people a chance and they still winning. So, yeah. I mean, it's just, come on, Arsenal. Wayne says they're both very big clubs. Liverpool and United both won Premier League several times. Between them, United has had bad luck for the last several years. Wayne, this is what I mean. All right, we get really good, logical Liverpool fans on here. And we get really nice fans like Wayne on here. As much as it pains me, right, just as much as it might pain Wayne as well. When Liverpool weren't as good and United were winning, league after league after league, but now it's Liverpool's turn, and it's painful, but it's respectful. That how can you, one thing, right, is that when you look at City, right, the reason why I have no respect for them, not necessarily the fans, is because they did it the wrong way, right? There's 115 things against them, like the charges against them. All right, Liverpool have done it the right way. They have saved their ground. They don't need to move away from the ground because they've basically looked after it. They've got the owners. They've got the fans who wouldn't put up with the crap that we. I guarantee you, if the Glazers were there, Liverpool fans would have got them out. They just do things differently. They do things in such a different way that it pains me that you cannot help but admire them. But we're both big clubs, but we are irrelevant. I'm so far impressed with De Ligt's performances, and by far he's the best centre back in the Premier League. You're a wet wipe. Interesting. Club World Cup is basically charity games. Liverpool win the league. Hedgie, maybe. United have not been the same since Fergie left. Exactly, Paul. But I mean, Paul, I'll say this, Paul, and this is not a dig at you, right? This is just my opinion on it, right? This whole Fergie thing now needs to stop. Like, it's like when Paisley left, Shankly left, bloody right. When Pep leaves, you can't keep. Like, Fergie's been gone so long now that Fergie argument is now gone. Right? We were never going to be the same. But people, and I'm not saying you, Paul, but people like the media, they love to beat us, right, with his stick. It's 13 years ago nearly. Like, Fergie's been and gone. Like, he's done it 13 years ago. We can't use that as an excuse. I know what you're saying, But I can't have that as an excuse. That can't just be the excuse, the fact that, he left. It is a pretty big excuse, but I'm not going to let this club. Right, what annoys me is that when you say he left, and that's why we're not good. We let the Glazers off. The reason why we're not good is because the Glazers fucked us up. The Glazers made the wrong decisions. The Glazers have picked the wrong managers. The Glazers have spent the money. The Glazers have spent the money badly. Yes, Ferguson left, but that's not just the reason why. If you say that, you're letting the Glazers off with what they've done. The reasons why we haven't won and we've not been the same since he left it's because Fergie knew how to run this club on a budget. The reason why we're now bad, one, because he left, but two, because the Glazers have destroyed this club. I think Arsenal struggle with a mentality thing. They need a coach that can motivate them because they surely have the second best squad in the Premier League. John, I'd argue that they probably could have one of the best as well. Has Osman decided to stay away from the Premier League? Yes, he has. The Hedgie says they're bottling it quicker than ever. Liverpool pick the ball out the net and go for the winner. Arsenal celebrate draw. Not going to disagree with that one. Tyler Rowland says only Liverpool can bottle it. Arsenal will never favourites and have never been top. Liverpool will go through their spell. Liverpool will go through their spell as well. They will. Let's see if Arsenal can capitalise on it. So Liverpool have defensively not been great. So I wouldn't write Arsenal off yet, but it's not looking too good, is it? I said, it says, well, it's the first time in being in your live, and I'm sure you are United fan. Well, I don't want to talk about it, but you can't rely on Amorim. Again, he needs to be sacked. Disagree, my friend. As I say, you can have your opinions on here. Respect your opinions. That's your opinion on it. I don't agree. We can't sack another manager. We just can't do it. Pete says, yeah, I don't want Liverpool to win the league trophy this season. It should be a different team. City should win it. Nah, not for me, especially from this position. As a Liverpool fan, I think Arteta, exactly, Hedgie, I think he's done amazingly well. Could you add all those Arteta out, get him out, Arteta out? I would kill to be in Arsenal's position. I would kill, right? So I think people should don't sleep on Arsenal, but Arsenal fans should also, and I'm sure that they do. I'm sure Arsenal fans should appreciate where they are. What will City do after Pep leaves? Fingers crossed they will capitulate. But I did decide the second half of last season is better that Arteta stays for Liverpool. You can't compete Chelsea on the same boat as City, just not as many charges. Exactly. The bottle something means to mess up, especially if they were doing good at some point. JB, your thoughts on Shesko? Do you think he will come good for us? Hopefully he will. I do. Okay, Rob. Let me give you an honest opinion on Shesko. Do I think Shesko will come good? Yes, I do. Do I think Shesko will come good for us? I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because he's treading a very same path as Højlund did. It is the graveyard shift. If Amorim can figure out how to get the ball to Shesko will score. I think Shesko is a good player. I think he's a great striker. I think he's going to be a good striker. But will he be a good striker for us? I don't know. And that is the question that needs to be asked. I think people who call Shesko a flop right now, I think are being OTT. He's not a flop. I just hope he's not going to go down the Højlund path. So I really hope that we can if we give him the ball, then he will score. Felt bad for Ollie. Had to try and do something with a train wreck. Exactly. I agree with that completely. Paul says, I agree based on that. Shaska will start to fast in, I hope so. Wayne says, Klopp built Liverpool from the ground upwards. He got the right players at the right time, but before that, we were in big trouble. Was all that exactly, Wayne? Like, it's what Wayne, sensible fans, right? Because what's funny, Wayne, is that you're a Liverpool fan, right? And we get non-Liverpool fans trying to tell us that Klopp, he inherited this amazing side, and then Klopp suddenly, then just had this like amazing side. It took him a little while to get a good side together, but he had time and patience. He had time and patience from the fans, time and patience from the owners of the club, and look what you can do. Nobody knew that Klopp was going to come in, and Klopp's system didn't exactly work straight away either. But people forget that, and I think, Wayne, it's the frustration of his fan base. The media hate us as well, so it's a game that Amorim, I don't think, can win. Well, man, I can't be in your live anymore, but appreciate the talk, and I hope you're the best. Bye. No worries, my friend. Take care. On the keeper situation, I think we do need another keeper, but that would take you. Would you take him and go back for minus? I'd go for. Okay. Good question. Okay. And so where I'm at is that I think we do need to sign a versatile player. Okay. Would I go in for Costa or would I go in for Emi Martinez? I would go for Martinez because I don't want to bring in just yet. I don't want to do a Ten Hag and bring in all of Ten Hag's players. I would bring in Emi Martinez because Martinez is Premier League proven and Costa is not. And look at what happened with Onana. And I'll come on to this as well. So apparently Amorim is demanding Costa as well. Lamens has come in. I think this is I truly think this is a power play by Amorim. I don't think Amorim wants Lamens. I think, again, this is a signing that's been forced on him, and I don't think he wants to play him. And I think this is a bit like when you give a child some peas to eat, and the child doesn't want to eat them, and no matter what you do, you'll give them peas after peas after peas, and they'll spit the peas everywhere, and they will not eat the peas until you give them some beans, right? Amorim doesn't want to play Lamens. He is chucking his toys at the pram. He's trying to prove a point. He's going to say, I don't want to play Lamens. He is not my guy. Give me Costa. So again, Lamens comes into this. There seems to be this really weird thing between Amorim and Sir Jim, right? Or Amorim and like Ineos. There almost seems to be this Amorim is almost saying up yours to Sir Jim, but not playing these players. And I just feel like there's this really weird, almost untenable, awkward situation where they bought him Lamens and he doesn't want to play him. Whether or not I think Lamens should play, I do. But Amorim, again, is a very, very stubborn play by him. And I don't know how he's going to come out. I really don't. John says, the reason why Liverpool don't play well, play good, but still win big games is because Slot gives them enough motivation and winning mentality like a manager should do. I don't agree with that because most of these are Klopp's players still. I don't think if you have the right mentality of player, you need your manager to lick your ass. And John, I'm not putting that opinion down, my friend. All I'm saying is the reason why I disagree with that is if you've got high mentality, high performing players who want to win, you don't really need a coach to really instill that in you. That should be in you from the very start. where maybe you do need to kick up the arses. Now, maybe say you're like having like the odd bad game, but then that's where you sort of need your captain as well. So I think right now, players are just playing because they're good. Hedgie says Shesko will come good. I hope so. Who's the best striker in this generation right now? Haaland, easy peasy, easy peasy. You could argue Kane. Mbappe is not a striker. So for those of you who are going to come at me and say that Mbappe is a striker, he's not a striker. If we're talking about a pure striker, you could argue Lewandowski, you could argue Harry Kane, and you could argue Haaland. I think Haaland is probably going to end up being the best striker ever. Been a good chat, thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Hedgie says, definitely not a flop. He will come good. Did you see him run the field like a ball yesterday? He does every... join probably Mbappe or Haaland. Out and out striker is Haaland. I agree. Arsenal won't win the Premier League until they get rid of Arteta because he makes very bad decisions. Wayne, again, that's what I'm starting to see. I think Arteta's been very, very cagey. Very, very cagey. Very, very cagey. Media definitely trashes United over any team of the most. Exactly. Play Saka. Give Lamens a chance. CR7 is Princess. What happened to the new keeper that we just signed? Exactly. I think that Amorim has been very, very stubborn on it. Very, 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 very stubborn. Tommy, all the kids eat peas here. Martinez would be a good keeper. United need to stop playing wing backs. They need to play 3 midfielders or wing backs that know how to get back. Danny Corbett, I was over on Saturday. It was a great performance, even from being Danny. Match-going fan, legend. Always big up the match-going fans because whatever they do, they're the ones that go there. Rain, sleep, shine, sleep, sheep, rain, sleet, shine. Match-going fans, big up to you. And Danny, you guys are there, right? You guys are at the ground. I thought it was a good performance and I was pleased for the coach. Baba says, hi, hello, my friend Rob. I will give Lamens a go the next game. See how he goes. Still bring in Emi Martinez. Danny says, Kane or Haaland. Is Harry Kane a god in England? I don't think he's a god in England. No, I don't think he is. No. Camavinga for who? Mainoo Ali. On Shesko, you spot on, JB. It's a graveyard shift. I just hope he gets service. I hope so too. We don't even care about Pulisic here. Yamal will be the GOAT in time. Maybe. Olise or Yamal. Oh, John Wick, that is a good question. That is a very, very good question. Now, some people may dismiss that out of hand. I do think Yamal, but only because he's so young and he's taken a team. He's basically grabbed a team like that, Yamal has, and basically holding his own at 17. At least he's done phenomenally well at Bayern. But I don't think he doesn't have an aura and he doesn't have an impact on that team. So I think Bayern are a great team. I think Olise is a fantastic player. I think he's brilliant. I think he's amazing player. But I think Yamal is beyond being a player. There are some players that come into a club, and I'm not going to say he's Messi, but they have an impact. And he's had that, and I think he's such a great talent. As an American, I love Pulisic. I think he could be elite. No, I don't think he could be. United Devil, Zander. Yes, my friend. United Devil. Yes, we are. Please smash the like button, guys. Help support the channel. Exactly, it really does. Thank you, Rob, legend, and Mod. Did not. I have issues with Pulisic. Don't mind me. Any word on Musa and his injury? No, not that I've heard. Elijah, come on, mate. Oh, Elijah, mate. I mean, what's the point? I mean, seriously, what is the point? Liverpool will go for Elise in some hedgy. If you do, then it's game over, isn't it? I think. So, guys, I'm in the show there. I've had a long ass day today. I've been up since about 5 o'clock morning. Probably had about 2 hours sleep last night. Elijah, mate. Mate, just relax, my friend, relax. Yeah, so I'm absolutely shattered. Been itching to do a show tonight, and I'm glad I did. Just wondered if you had it like 79 times. I love it, guys. So thank you for today. Probably be the same tomorrow as well, because I'm just not going to have time to do one during the day or the morning. I'm in learning stuff all day tomorrow from about 10 o'clock till from about 10 in the morning. I do have a cold as well. I absolutely do. So it's one of those colds where you've been up for too long and your body's telling you to go to bed. So I am going to go to bed. But guys, thank you so much for being here, guys. Absolutely amazing. Dominic says, but Liga have more PR than the Bundesliga. That's why Yamal have more aura than Elise. But technically, for me, it's Dembele. Yeah. Musiala, Lemsips. I am off to bed, guys. But guys, as I always say, thank you to the mods. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are amazing. This channel is literally nothing without you guys. So even if it's banter, even if it's good, bad, we agree, we disagree, guys, you make the show, and it literally is amazing. So, guys. Danny, Josh, evening, brother. Hope you're well. I'm a Milan fan and have no dog in the Prem, but even I got satisfaction from watching Garnacho being upset after the game. I love it, Josh. I love it. So, guys, thank you so much. Elijah, I think, needs to go and have a little bit of a Tommy Tank. Yeah, guys. Amazing. Take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, whatever you do. I will see you tomorrow, probably around the same time. So take care. I'll see you very, very soon.